Hello, dear one, Nata here. Today I bring the topic of expectations. Being aware of our own expectations creates freedom in our system. Oh my gosh, that's quite deep, Nata. Being aware of your own expectations. So I'm going to give you the story of me coming to the United States and not being aware that I was placing a very high expectation on coming to the United States from a very impoverished country. So I come to the United States with all these ways of fitting in. Just exactly what I knew what to do back home. So I'm trying to fit in. I'm getting my master's degrees. I'm getting my house in order. I'm having these expectations. And the one thing you need to remember from this is when we are not aware that we have our expectations and the reality is less than pleasant, we are in pain. And we have stories around it saying that, well, America's this, that job is that, those people are that, this neighborhood is that. These are the stories that are put in place by the mind so we do not feel the pain. In a way, I feel the pain, but I'm going to put it out there. I'll blame something else outside me because I don't want to feel the pain. Remember, the mind's job is to take you away from pain and lead you towards pleasure. But not the pleasure of starting something new, not the pleasure of doing something grand, the pleasure of comfort. So it comes with ideas such as, eating. Addictions put in place that we use as defense mechanisms around pain, so we don't feel whatever we're feeling. So back to the story. So I had high expectations, and my stories were around, well, it's hard. America, Moldova, it's hard. Well, it was hard in Moldova, it was hard here. Man, there was an expectation that when I come to the United States, my pain is going to go away. It's going to be easier. And here I was going and doing the things that the society put in place, all those things that are important. But I wasn't aware of my own expectations. And my expectations were so high that all of a sudden I'll be this whatever, millionaire. It's going to be all taken care of. Without growth. Without my own meaningful growth. Who am I here to do? Who am I here to become? What am I to learn? So expectations, they lead to pain if we're not aware. If they're so high that now your reality does not match the expectation. And then you put stories in place because it's painful. So you find ways to blame something outside yourself. And then from pain, expectation really could lead to suffering. Because if reality doesn't match the expectation, and then you feel that there's nothing you can do about it, that is suffering. Because not only the story is there, you feel like, well, I can't do anything about it. Therefore, I'll stay where I am. I'll stay in a relationship that never worked. I'll stay in a job that was never fulfilling. I'll stay in a place that is just soul-wrenching. That's how the mind protects. And it keeps you in suffering. Own self-made suffering. And I know these are words that are hard to hear to the mind, but deep down you can do something. Deep down there are those inspirational stories that somebody just knew that it was hard, but nevertheless got out of the box, did what they need to do. And here they are saying, I am not a victim of that anymore. I'm a survivor. I used to do that, but not anymore. They literally lit up from the inside, and they took away the story and they brought in a new one, a more empowering one. and they created their own exit of the suffering, their own exit. Because one thing that I've learned is that it's nobody's job to make me rich, happy, I don't know, feel something. It's my job to know how to give it to myself. It's my job to be aware that I am placing myself in expectations. I'm placing myself in boxes of victimhood, and I will break out. And I know I have to bring some resources from within. Resilience, trust, pushing through, trusting the universe that it's for me too. So be aware of your expectations. Be aware if they are too high. Be aware if they are matching your reality. Be aware if you just sometimes are impatient. I'm just impatient. I would just want to have that now, right here. And why am I not? And then you place yourself in limitations of, it's working for others, but not for me. You'll never work for me. So expectations are something we strive for. Expectations is something inspired us, and I want now that for me as well. But if it's a high bar and you feel that, oh my God, I've worked so hard and here's my expectation, and I've been doing tech and university, I've been doing year after year after year after year, and if you always felt hard, but you know that this last year I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna finish. For others, they might not even finish because they dropped somewhere in between because it was too hard, it was too whatever. So there is an expectation, and here's you trying to meet it. But if it's in the way, you're trying, and then it becomes too hard, and somewhere it's in this process you told yourself, this is not for me, it's too hard, and it's not matching, and you're not giving yourself that higher resourcefulness, higher presence of, I can do it, and I will do it, and I'll do every little step, and I will count every little step that will in the end become the result. But don't work with expectation, work with progress. I made progress, here I go. Work with acceptance that there will be times when you are not as driven. There will be times when there's something else you're learning. There are times when there's something else that is shifting, moving you, and with that you're growing, you're expanding yourself. So make sure that your expectations are not impeding your progress. And also with expectations, usually they're put on us very early on. As a kid, you're expected to do this and this and this. As a student, you're expected to do this and this and that. As a wife, you're expected to do this. As a girl, as a boy, you're expected. So those expectations are put on us early on. And when we are in our own growth, doing something, and we're meeting somebody else's expectations, somebody else's voice of view, without you checking in and saying, wait a second, I'm a woman, yes. But those expectations were cultural. Those expectations came from my school. Those expectations came from that crazy leader. And you bring it to your matchingness, to your what is right for you. And give yourself permission to allow you to be okay with what you're setting for yourself. To allow yourself to live the life you are living. Yours, not their expectations of you, your own okayness of you, your own progress. I'm making progress, I'm moving on, here I go. Today again, I'll learn something new, I'll do something new, I will expand, and I will be there as my own friend, not as that expectation, that voice, that critic of somebody you criticizing you when you're much younger. So again, expectations, you can actually make it a new way of seeing things. If you see yourself, oh my God, I'm seeing myself criticizing myself all the time. Where is this coming from? And why am I allowing that? Why am I expecting this to make me happy? Happiness, joy comes from within. The joy of making progress, the joy of moving on, the joy of being in a relationship with myself and being proud of being this good friend to myself, my life. What do I want for me? And so with that openness, with that, bigness, it's a bigger way of seeing things. But if you find yourself in a situation where it's frictioning, it's not going well, you ask yourself, might there be an expectation I placed on myself? Or might there be an expectation that society placed on me? Or might there be an expectation that my partner is expecting of me, or my kid, or my job? And try to meet the expectation with neutrality. Just try to see it. Like, what is it there that is creating this suffering in this situation? What is there? And when you are neutral and you are observing what is in place, now the mind doesn't have to truly protect you anymore and run you into something to bring some pleasure. It is a time of just going in the box, cleaning in the box, and seeing what can be reframed. How can you allow yourself to have the progress? How can you allow yourself to have the growth you need? How can you allow yourself to have the lessons that you haven't learned yet? Because you listen to the critic only. Because you listen to the expectations and then you never meet them because there were lessons in the way. So then you drop and you don't want to talk about that, and you create protections of so many kinds. I don't talk about this. I'm gonna exclude my friends. You are too of this. You are too of that. Do you see? It's all you. But when you take it down inside you and say, "Oh my God, I've placed my expectations," and if I'm curious about these expectations, are not even mine. With awareness, I can change them. And how do I want it to be? And make sure it's inclusive of others, inclusive of you first, and inclusive of others. When you will notice your own expectations and you break free from them and from the pain and suffering that was keeping you, whatever stuckness you had. Again, I always end with this: you can actually give it to others and be like a saving boat for somebody else that is in an ocean of pain and suffering. And you're coming with this boat and say, I dealt with that too, but I can free you. I can tell you what worked for me. I can be honest, that you don't have to stay there. Do you want to come? Do you want to free yourself? So here it is, friends of mine and dear loved ones. Suffering is something we create within ourselves. We create within ourselves because we allow ourselves to listen to the story that we tell ourselves. And there is freedom. There is freedom from suffering and pain when we enliven ourselves and we come with a different story, that I will try, that I'll do it no matter what. I'm taking the first step and the second. And if it's small to your mind, whatever mind, just come. It's a new journey. Let's go experience that. And I'll give you an experience you never had before. Ready? Set, go. Much love.